Hello, everyone. I hope you are enjoying your day, wherever you are. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We are back with the Cloud Lunch and Learn. This week is all about Microsoft Fabric. As you know, it's an emerging technology and an hot topic nowadays. Everyone is talking about Fabric. So we have Javier with us to tell us all about Fabric. Hi, Javier, how are you doing?
Hi, Hugo. How are you? How are you doing? All good from my
All good.
side.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Javier, for being here and sharing your knowledge with us. So, without further ado, if you are happy, I'm going to give you the stage. The stage is all yours. I'm going to just enable the screen and it can take off. Okay.
Yeah, I think we're ready to move on. Thank you,
Okay.
Hugo, for
So,
having me today.
so just quick one before Javier starts. As usual, if you have any questions, feel free to share your questions in the chat. Also, let us know where are you connecting from. On my sides, we have Ireland here and also Javier from Argentina. So, let us know where are you coming from, and
Yeah.
it's always good to connect. So, yeah, enjoy the session, and Javier, the stage is all yours.
All right. Thank you, Hugo. And well, it's a pleasure again to me to be here. I definitely love this community. I love to talk about data platform, and in this case, we're going to be talking a lot related to Microsoft Fabric. Right. So the idea is to do an introduction of Microsoft Fabric. Right, see what was presented, see a little bit on how it works, and have some sneak peek of few of the things that we can accomplish with it. Right. So this is introduction to Microsoft Fabric Data Analytics for the era of AI. Mhm. So uh, let's start here. A little bit about myself. My name is Javier Villegas. I work at MSC, and I'm involved with SQL Server, Azure SQL, and data platforms since 30 years now. I'm Microsoft MVP in the data platform category, as well as Microsoft Certified Trainer. I recently got the Microsoft certification on Fabric Analytic Engineers Associate few days back. And I'm also a former Azure Data Community Advisory Council member and a technical speaker. I love to present and talk as much as I can. Right. Um, I'm also one of the mm, owners of our local community called SQL Argentina. We have our meetup, our sessions. We're trying to come up back online and in person as well. And well, we mainly speak in Spanish, but if you feel comfortable with that, feel free to join us. I also have my contact information here on the screen, email, X account, LinkedIn, and my blog in case you want to reach me for any question related to this topic or anything else that you would like to talk. I love to network with people and establish conversations. So let's start. Microsoft Fabric, the unified analytic solution for the era of AI. So what is this? Well, let's go a little bit back on the history, right? Microsoft Fabric was announced as public preview back in Build 2023, right? So a year or so ago. So back then it was just presented as this data platform for the era of AI, right? And everybody was able to jump into it and start getting involved, try it, see the features, provide feedback to Microsoft, etc., etc. Last November, during Microsoft Ignite, right, it was presented as GA, general available. So now everybody can shop into it and use it. And Microsoft is giving us the possibility of having a 60-day trials to test our workload, to do proof of concept, and to get involved with, right, before buying the solution. So what is Microsoft Fabric? What, right, is a unified analytic platform, which is software as a service. What is that? We don't have to install anything, right? It's all provisioned in the cloud, right? So we just connect through our Fabric portal, and we work with this solution, right? It's not a virtual machine where we have to install software or anything else, right? We will go through the presentation. So also during Microsoft Ignite, when it was presented, they mentioned this phrase that definitely I love, because I definitely support it, which is data is the fuel that powers AI, right? So we will see what this means, and what are the things that Fabric can do for any2 AI. So what is Microsoft Fabric, right? It's an end-to-end solution. As I said, we don't need anything else, right? Provide a single environment, right, for any kind of data-related professional, right, in where we can collaborate within the same team, but with multiple, let's say, profiles. We can have a big team of data engineers, data analysts, data scientists, right? Power BI or BI analysis, etc. And we can all work together within the same environment. And one of the things that I love the most, besides being a SaaS solution, as I said, nothing to be provisioning, right, is that we don't need to duplicate the data as in other solutions available in the market. So the best, let's say, analogy that I can do for Fabric is something that we all use, right? For productivity, right, we all use Microsoft Office, right? We know that Microsoft Office is the combination of Word, Excel, Outlook, PowerPoint, and many other products, right? And at the back end of those productivity products, we have OneDrive, in where we store and share all the files and all the information between all the components. Well, Microsoft Fabric is something similar, but for data analytics. Why do I say so? Because basically, Fabric is the union of many existing services in Azure, right, that we are now combined in a single solution. Those components are mainly three: Data Factory for ingesting data into the solution, right? Azure Synapse Analytics to store and process and compute the data that we have, and Power BI, right, to generate the dashboards and the reports to consume all those processes that we have. Right? So nowadays we have these three components in Azure. If we need to do a data-related project, we can still use this component with absolutely no problem, right? But for the billing purpose and also for networking, right, to connect Data Factory with Synapse and Power BI, there are certain complexity that we have to do, right? But within Fabric, all this complexity is abstracted because it's also part of Fabric. I also mentioned OneDrive for Microsoft Office, right? In Microsoft Fabric, there is this concept of one lake. What is this? Well, I mentioned Synapse Analytic, right, in the the existing solution, which is the engine to do warehouse or machine learning or data science, right? But nowadays, Synapse use a proprietary storage format, right? Well, in Fabric, Microsoft has adopted, right, an open format, which is Delta Lake, right? So it's all the power of Synapse, but using this open standard storage, which is way easier to integrate and share with other components. And everything is stored in this one lake layer, right? Uh, as I briefly mentioned before, there is also the possibility to share the data within different projects, right, without doing any data duplication, right? So if we see Microsoft Fabric as a whole, right, we have multiple personas, approach, or different type of project that we can do on it, right? We can use the data integration part, the data factory, right, to again ingest data into our data platform solution, right? We can use any data source, cloud native or on-premise, right? We will see that there is a big list of data source that we can go reach and get data into Fabric, again, without installing any driver, any ODBC thing, or anything at all, right? So super nice. Then we use the power of Synapse, right? With this new unified data foundation called One Lake to do data engineering, data warehouse, as we've been doing nowadays, data science, and also real-time analytics using streaming events, right? And finally, as part of the solution, we also consider business intelligence with Power BI. So this concept of Fabric, a unified data solution, is quite interesting because we have the storage layer, right, which, as I said, is based in open standard, right, Delta Parquet, right? And at the top of it, we have a serverless compute layer in where we would see that we can use multiple engines. We can use Transact SQL, T-SQL, if we are working with a data warehouse. We can use Spark if we are using, the Lakehouse, right, with unstructured storage. We can use Python, right? We can use CustoQL, QQL, right? KQL to work with streaming data sources, and we can also, use the analysis services that we all know. And again, we can get the approach from different areas as a data analyst, as a data engineer of any data science project, right? So what we will see within Fabric is that this storage layer called One Lake, we will get the data in multiple ways. We will see it later, right? And then we have this concept of workspaces, right? Workspaces are coming basically from Power BI, right? This is a concept that we've been using in Power BI. So we create this workspace and we put all the component for our data-related project into a specific workspace, right? And depending on the data that we have, if we need to share this data with another workspace, we will see that we don't need to copy or duplicate the data. We have a simple way to share this information internally, right? So today, if we are involved in a data analytic related project, we know that it's hard to go find the different data silos that we have within our organization to get the data, to generate an ETL process either with Data Factory or with Spark, or just simple files that we need to upload, right? And if we want to make this data available for different areas within our organization, we know that it's hard. And most of the time, we need to involve this data movement part, which is copying or duplicating all the data or partial data, right? This is a complex thing to maintain, and even if you put the security at the top of it, it's even more complex, right? So in Fabric, using this unified storage layer called OneLake, we have the possibility of using this concept of shortcut. What does shortcut means? Well, if we get the data for our project, let's say sales, right, or customer information, and we get it within our workspace, right, and we have it storage in our Lakehouse, in our data warehouse, and we need to share this information with another department, let's say marketing, right? Instead of copying, duplicating the data, we're going to create a shortcut that will be visible from the other workspace without having to duplicate the data, just by a reference. So they will have access to the same data source, right, without duplicating the information. This is super, super great, right? Additionally to this shortcut within OneLake, there is this possibility, taking advantage of the open Delta Parquet format, right, that we can reference data which is stored in another cloud provider like Google or AWS, or, for example, Databricks, right? We don't need to copy the data. We don't need the data movement, right? We can create this shortcut and we will have the information available within Fabric, right, without copying or moving the data. This is a game changing, right? All right. So when we get into Fabric, we will find ourselves quite familiar if we are coming from the Power BI world, right? But we will see that now we have multiple approaches, right? Or Microsoft call it personas or happy path, I even heard, right? So we can switch from one project to the other, or from one hat to the other, data engineer, data science, data warehouse, really, really easy, right? And it's super easy to start getting involved with Fabric because, as I said, Microsoft, make it available for everybody with a 60-day trial. So if you have, if you want to start getting involved, you just get connected to Fabric and you enable this trial. I will provide all the information on how to enable it later on, right? But it's super easy to start testing and doing this proof of concept with our own data. So again, these experiences will help us to, within the same organization, have the traditional data warehouse that we've been doing, maybe in PDW or SQL Server, but within, Fabric. If we want to start doing, for example, forecasting of the data, we just get the data into the Lakehouse, and we can use Spark to train those data and come up, for example, with a forecast, right? So a lot of variation, a lot of possibilities within a unified SaaS solution, right? So I've been talking about Lakehouse and Warehouse, right? So what is all about? So this is a slide that I like to present, because in one screen you see the main difference between a Lakehouse and a warehouse. Important thing is that within Fabric you have the possibility of using both Lakehouse and warehouse. Lakehouse is mainly to store any kind of data, unstructured, structured, or semi-structured, while in a warehouse is structured data, meaning tables with columns and relationship, the thing that we've been using with SQL Server, for example. So who used which one? Well, a data warehouse developer, a SQL engineer, which gets familiar with T-SQL, with Transact SQL, right? Definitely will work well with the warehouse, right? And on the Lakehouse is mainly for data engineer or data science, where mainly we can use languages like Spark, Scala, R, or Spark SQL, right? So this is something that, again, I like to present and have it so everybody have this big picture of what we can do with each of them. We're going to see them in action in a minute, right? So within the Microsoft Fabric umbrella, right? Again, multiple products or multiple approaches for the same, to accomplish the same goal, unified data analytics solution. We can switch from one to the other in no time, right? So this is quite interesting because Microsoft is investing a lot, right, in capabilities that, for example, make Copilot available in some or actually most of the component of Fabric. And we will see them in a minute, right? There are a lot of new features coming every month, right? Later, I will share a link in where Microsoft present the Microsoft Fabric roadmap. So over there, they present all the features that are coming and when they are coming, right? So also in terms of real-time analytics, again, we can have sensors on the fields. We can get the data through Event Hub or an event stream, right? And we can store and process those events in real time, right? And of course, Power BI. Power BI is something that we all know. It's been the market default by now, right? Everybody use it, right? And it's quite interesting because there are also new features powering this solution, right? For example, nowadays, when we develop a Power BI report of dashboard, there are mainly two modes, right? That each of them has pros and cons. One of them is direct query mode, which, for example, from the report, we can go directly to the data source, to the storage, run the query, and get the result, right? The pros is that we get real-time data, right? The cons is that most of the time is quite slow, right? The performance is not great. Then we have the import mode. The import mode basically allow us to take a snapshot of the data source, get it into Power BI, so then all the queries for the visuals will go to that snapshot, right? The pros is that it's way, way faster than direct query mode. The cons is that it's not real-time data because these snapshots are taken once in a while, right? Well, now in Power BI within Fabric, we have a third mode, which is direct lake mode. We combine the pros of both direct query mode and import mode into the new direct lake mode. So we have the flexibility of getting real-time data, right? Way, way faster than before. There is also a new component within Fabric, which is called Data Activator. This is new, right? This was not something that was there before. Data Activator basically is the no-code, low-code solution, right, to evaluate data streams and take actions depending on, the data. For example, let's say that we have a real-time stream of data with, that is coming from sensors which are evaluating the temperature, right? So they are coming the temperature of different things, for example. So we can set up a rule that say, hey, if the temperature goes above or beyond certain value for X amount of captures or time, right, raise a trigger and take an action, right? This action could be something as simple as sending an email through Outlook or send a team message, but also it can run a Power Automate artifact or any custom activity like a PowerShell, right? So we can do this also with a normal data set. Let's say we have a stream of data coming through a data source, and we would like to set up with know a lot of skills on programming these triggers, because actions and triggers, right? And depending on, again, the values that we get, we take one action or the other. Again, this is Data Activator and is part of Fabric solution, right? So as most of the things nowadays, in Fabric, we also have Copilot, which is still in preview, right? So Copilot, we know, is the way of interacting with multiple areas of the solution using natural language, human language, right? So we can generate DAX code, SQL code, machine learning models, right? We can also work within that activator to generate these triggers, right? And we can also, let's say, work to generate Power BI reports, right? So we will see something in particular related to Power BI later on. Okay, so now I will talk about how we get the data and we put it into Fabric or OneLake, right? We know that we have data factory or data integration to get the data from multiple sources and ingest the data into Fabric, right? Well, Microsoft is now working and has presented this solution as preview, which is called mirroring in Microsoft Fabric. What is mirroring in Fabric? Right? And for now, available in Cosmos DB, Azure SQL DB, Snowflake, and MongoDB. What is this? These are operational, relational, and non-relational database engine, right? From Microsoft and from external vendors, right? So mirroring gives us the possibility of, connecting from Fabric to the data source, right? And as soon as there is a change in the data source, in near real time, have that change within OneLake. Meaning, let's say we have an Azure SQL database, which is an operational database. We have our ERP solution in where the team is, putting the sales and charging the customers and getting all the details, right? As soon as this data get insert, update, or deleted in the source, right, without any ETL process, right, just by enabling mirroring, this data will be reflected into OneLake. So this data will be available for analytical purposes, right? So we can put a Power BI report at the top of it using real-time data, right? This is in preview, right? So, and for now, we have only these 4 data sources. Microsoft is saying that in the future, it will come up to more sources, like, for example, SQL Server, right? But again, this will eventually eliminate the need of doing ETLs, right? So once every hour, 2 hours, 6 hours, once a day, just getting the data and getting into the Fabric in this case, right? But instead, the data will flow automatically in almost real time within the analytical solution. So that's going to be awesome, right? So if we talk about Copilot, if we talk about Power BI, I would like you to see this video, right? which is basically Copilot for Power BI, but not to write report. It's just to interact with Power BI and get insight from the data. Let's see the video.
Introducing the next generation of AI in Microsoft Power BI. Copilot in Power BI empowers your people to unlock the full potential of your data and move from data to insights faster. Now, with Copilot in Power BI, you can use natural language to bring your data to life. Simply describe the visuals and insights you're looking for, and next generation AI will create your report and help you refine it. You can then dig into this data further by asking a question, and Copilot will find the best answer. Not only does Copilot help you visualize your data, but it taps into Power BI's advanced analysis capabilities to help you find key influencers and outliers and create forecasts. Copilot can summarize your data into easy-to-understand text narratives that help others quickly get important and relevant insights. And for analysts who are creating calculations and modeling data, you can simply describe what you want, and the code is automatically generated. With Copilot in Power BI, turning data into impact has never been easier.
So for me, this is absolutely great. So having this possibility of interacting with Power BI using plain English, right, natural language, to get insight from the data. So give me the information related to the sales from the last quarter, or compare the sales from this quarter versus, a year back, or any kind of insight. Right? We can do it without, just having to have this pre-configured or pre-created Power BI. We can just interact using natural language. So definitely, to me, this is game changing. And nowadays, it's available in preview for everybody to test. Right? All right. So let's see Microsoft Fabric in action. Right? So for now, I have my environment, right? And this is the same URL that we've been using, app.powerbi.com. And down here, right, I have the possibility of switching from, one persona to another one, right? And to start with, I will go to data warehouse, right? So I have all the information that I have already created, and now I will start a new project. This new project will be based for this demo. So I will go to workspaces, right? And I will create a brand new workspace. So I will put the name for this workspace, Cloud Learn Lunch, right? We can put more description. We can, upload an image if we want. Put the owners, right, and the license that we will be using. Right? And for now, I will keep using my 60-day trials that I have. So I will hit apply, and in no time, I'll have my workspace, which is completely empty, right? So just to start with, I will go here and explore all the artifacts that I have, all the things that I can create within my Fabric environment, right? We can create a pipeline to ingest data. We can create, a Lakehouse, a notebook to work with Spark, Reflect, which is data activator, right? A report to Power BI, or a warehouse. And there are few more options here. We have them all, right? So I'll go to my workspace, and I will start by creating a Lakehouse, right? So I will just put the name, call it Cloud Learn Lunch, 001 Lakehouse. So this is the name of my Lakehouse. And you will see in no time, we have the Lakehouse created. Good. And with that, we have a completely empty Lakehouse in where we see tables and files. Remember, in a Lakehouse, we can store tables, relational data, right? Or unstructured or semi-structured data like CSV file, JSON file, or anything like that. Right? I will go back to my workspace, and as long as my Lakehouse, I will create also a warehouse. I will call it Cloud Learn Launch 001 Warehouse. And again, in no time, we have a warehouse created. Remember, that we in a warehouse we can just create tables and work with transfer SQL. So I go back here. I have my Lakehouse and my warehouse. So what do I do next? Well, I have to go get data and insert it into either my Lakehouse or my warehouse. So I will go create a data pipeline. Right? Data pipeline is basically similar to what we know as what we knew as data factory, right? To get and ingest data. So I will call it pipeline 1. I will hit create, and then within a second, we will have the wizard to start working on this data ingestion part. So what do we do here? We have multiple options. I will start with the copy data assistant. Right? We will see that we can reach a data source, and then we can put it into a destination. So when we have the data sources, right, we see here that there are a bunch of possibilities. We see Azure SQL Database, Oracle, Postgres, SAP HANA, Snowflake, Dataverse, storage account, ODBC, SQL in Amazon. So there are many options to connect, right? So, in this case, what I will do is I'll go to, I don't have it, sample data. In sample data, this is public data repository that is available online, in where we have, for example, data related to the COVID-19, diabetes, public holidays, worldwide report important. This is the Microsoft example, or New York taxi, right? And it's telling you which format is using. So I will go grab the New York taxi information, right? With that, we're gonna get a preview of the data. This is all the movement of the New York taxi of a couple of years ago. So we have the preview here. We will see, like the format of the table with the columns, with the data types, etc. Right? So it should come in a second. Probably I'll go choose another one which is not that big. I will go to COVID-19, and we see that we have the data in CSV file, in JSON files, or Parquet file. I will go get the CSV, right? So it's trying to preview the data. Not sure why it's taking that long. Normally it's faster. So we get here the preview. We hit next. We're going to choose the destination, right? We should choose the source. We're going to choose the destination, and I will choose my Lakehouse, right? In Lakehouse, we can, here, I will choose the Lakehouse that we create earlier, right? So here, what we have is, I will create it as a table. I will load it to a new table where we have the name here. Here automatically is trying to map the columns from the source to the destination, right? And in few seconds, we should see the mapping, and eventually we're going to be able to, here we have all the columns, the data types, the mapping. So eventually we can even change the column names at the destination, the data type, etc., etc., etc. Right? So I will hit next. Here we have the summary, and then I will do something similar to what we do in Data Factory. We save the pipeline, right, and it's executing manually right away, right? Then we can, put the schedule to this pipeline and execute it once a day, once an hour, depending on our need. But now we have the pipeline created to get the data from our sample database and put it into our Lakehouse, right? Down here, we see that the activity is in queue and now is in progress. So we have we can have additional data on where we are. It's going to take a few seconds, and here we see the duration breakdown, right? And we see the progress of our pipeline. At some point, right? Let's close this. At some point, we'll see that this activity, which is now in progress, will finish. Right? So let's wait a second, and as soon as it's finished, this is a fairly small data set, so we should see this very in a few more seconds. So remember, what we just did is we create the Lakehouse, we create the data warehouse, we create a pipeline to get the COVID-19 data, and with this pipeline, we got into the source, which is formatted as CSV file, right? And then we get it into our Lakehouse. So the activity is just finished. I will go back to my Lakehouse, right? Now, I see, if I refresh here, I should see the table, right? So now this is a table, right? And we have it already in our Lakehouse, right? First time always takes a little bit longer, but now this is the table within our warehouse, right? So we can also come here, right, in files, and we can upload files. So I will go to upload files. I will go here. I will go to see temp. I may have some product CSV, and I will upload my file. This is a file that I'm loading locally from my drive into file, right? As soon as the file is ready, I will see it here. I can explore the file, right? We will see the file defined as CSV, right? Nothing strange here. We see the file under files. So what I'm going to do next is I will go to these three dots here and we'll do load to a new table, right? We can specify the table name. We specify that it has a header. The separator is comma. We can modify this as we wish. So problem, what is the problem? Okay, this may have some problems. So anyway, all right. but we have it as a file eventually, right? We can eventually grab the file from notebook, and with machine learning, we can remove the bad characters. I believe that here we have to remove the column or something like that. But anyway, so I will also go back to my workspace. I will create another pipeline. And in this case, what I'll do, again, I will use the copy assistant module. I will go to sample data. I will go to World Wide Web importers. I will choose table. I will just hit next. I will choose the destination, my data warehouse. Right here is my warehouse. It said to go to new tables, right? And what I'm doing here is basically importing from a sample source files, a storage account with Parquet files or anything, right, into the data warehouse, right? Here we're gonna get it directly into a table. We just hit next, and right away we start with the copy activity, right? So we got the COVID-19 data into the Lakehouse, and now we are inserting the data from the worldwide importers into the this one should be running. Let me see. Yes. So in the meantime, while this one gets connected, we will see, as we saw before, that within the portal, we have the possibility to see the data from the Lakehouse. Here, directly the table, we can open a notebook and work directly with the notebook in here. We can also go to the warehouse here, and we have a new T-SQL query, right? So if we come here, we start seeing the tables that we are just importing within the pipeline that is running behind the scene, right? Here we can just do a query, like for example, select top 10, start from dimension city, right? And we're gonna have the top 10, right? So as you see, this is a unified SaaS experience. We don't need to get out of the environment. Here we have everything over there. But right, for SQL people like myself, right, we also have this the possibility of connecting this with Management Studio. How is that? Okay, so let me minimize this for a second. We have here under settings, right? We have here what is called SQL connection string, right? So we just copy this into the clipboard. We come here to Management Studio, we hit connect database engine, we specify this, the connection string, right? This is using enter ID. So let me grab the username and password here. So this is my username. I will hit connect, right? Then it's asking me for my password. I'm getting this here. So now from Management Studio, you will see that I'm connected to the SQL endpoint, right? And from the SQL endpoint, I'm not only seeing the data warehouse, but I also see the warehouse, both of them, right? So if I expand here, I see in the warehouse the tables from white word importers, and in the Lakehouse, I see the data from COVID-19, right? And from there, I can open a new query. See, you see, we have dimension city here, and we have, all right, so the COVID data and the dimension city. So I can open a query here, and what is interesting that in here we can do cross database. So meaning that if I go to select start from dbo.dimension city, all right, let me get this. But at the same time, I can do select start from, let's see, LL001 Lakehouse.dbo. And we get. So eventually, in this case, those are two independent tables. But eventually, if there is a relationship between one and the other, we can do cross database queries, right? Like joining any kind of chunk. So this is great. Right? This is something that, again, if you feel more comfortable using Management Studio or Azure Data Studio to work with Transact SQL, you can do it, and you can connect to Fabric. So anyway, this is very simple. All the things that we can do within Fabric: create the workspace, create the lakehouse, a data warehouse, and get data from the sample source, from files, and also from SQL Server or any other data source. Okay, going back to the presentation, Microsoft is putting a lot of effort to train the community, the data professionals, and everyone, right? So there is a ton of activities and materials available for us. Video series, ebooks, webcasts, Microsoft Learn, the trials, tutorials, so everything you need. So here you have a set of links to start with, right? Also, there is this new certification, Fabric Analytic Engineer, in where you have all the training available within Microsoft Learn. There is an initiative called Learn Live Together, Microsoft Fabric Edition, right? This is the schedule of all the 9 modules, as well as the number 10, which is specifically on tips and tricks on how to pass the exam. All this information is already recorded and available in YouTube, in Microsoft Learn, everywhere. So feel free to reach it and use it, because it's really great, right? Also, the Fabric Career Hub, in where you will see real scenarios and real customers using and how they use Fabric for their data solution, right? So definitely a lot of information available for everybody to consume, right? So, and finally, if you want to get certified, there is also this new Fabric Cloud Skill Challenge, right? In where you can set up, you have an environment, a sandbox, in where you have to work with a real data-related project, and you're going to be evaluated by objective. It's completely free, and you may have this certification, right? If you want to start, upgrade to Fabric, right? Or aka.ms/Fabric. You can start with no credit card requirement, try it for free, 60-day, and you can start working and preparing your next data analytics project. And with that, we just finish the presentation. I don't know if there are questions in the chat, Hugo?
Javier, first of all, thank you very much. Really great presentation. A lot of content to digest, I would say. Well, our friends attending the session are a bit shy today, so they don't. Feel free to raise any questions if you have any questions. I'm going to just raise a few questions in the meantime, if you don't mind. So in your perspective, tell me, so we have of course we have for a long time data factory around, and Synapse Analytics and all these different tools. Do you see the usual question that comes is, do you see Microsoft Fabric to be the next tool replacing data factory and replacing Synapse and replacing the other tools, the individual tools?
All the existing solutions, Data Factory, Synapse, and Power BI, as we know it, are still available, right? But Microsoft nowadays is heavily investing into Fabric, right? So I would say, if today you would like to start a brand new project, right, definitely start with Fabric. If you're already using Data Factory and to get data into Synapse, Microsoft is also working on migration path, right? I will recommend to check the aka.ms/Fabric roadmap, in where you will see also their initiative of migrating from Synapse serverless or dedicated pool into Fabric, right? So to me, if you really want to start a brand new project, or if your project tends to grow and you really want to be using latest and greatest technology, like for example what I mentioned related to mirroring, right, it's only available for Fabric, right, not for Synapse. In Synapse you have the Synapse links for Azure SQL, which is something that Microsoft is not investing anymore, right? So definitely you have to switch your mindset and start moving to Fabric. That's my take. And that is what I'm doing actually.
Perfect. So just to share with you before we drop, I hope I'm pronouncing correct your name, Rice. Rice is just thanking you for the great session. He says he has no questions, a lot of content to digest, I understand. Yeah, definitely. I was asking that because definitely I see Microsoft promoting, for example, you have Data Factory in Fabric, but they promote it as the next generation of Data Factory. So it kind of implicitly shows that, you know what I mean, that this is the new way to go. But of course, I would say personally, the way I see these things is, you know, Fabric is a big beast, you know what I mean? And sometimes if you need just individual tools, like if you just do some ETL process and you just need to use Data Factory, probably you can use Data Factory without the need to go and jump to Factory and, you know, start to manage an elephant, which provides you all the different things.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like a toolbox.
if you are using Data Factory as you've been using SSIS in SQL Server, well, there is no doubt, right? But again, on a mature project that may requires, you know, ingestion, processing, and, you know, generating the output with Power BI, with all the benefit of Copilot eventually, right, is the way to go.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thank you very much. For those that, of course, we have a lot of people that end up watching us offline. So if you did not have a chance to watch it live, feel free to use the chat and let us know if you are using Microsoft Fabric nowadays and what are the use cases you are building. It's always good to share with the community, so you can also get to know what other people are doing as well and share experience. Okay, and in the meantime, if you don't have any other questions, I have to say, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you, Javier. As always, it's not your first time here on Code, Lunch and Learn. We really appreciate your contributions, and hope to see you next week. Okay, take care, and thank you very much. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.